Hey there, I wanted to come on and give a quick content warning before we get into the show. We're going to be talking about some mental health challenges in today's conversation, including suicidal ideation, so please take care of yourself while listening, or feel free to skip this episode. Here we are.
Season 2.
It's happening.
Is it happening, or are we
I don't
just
know.
recording?
We'll find out.
We sure will. If I have to edit this, it's not happening.
As of yesterday, I'm starting to think I'm going to edit this.
Uh-oh. That's a lot of work.
What if it's not, though?
Oh, I have news for you. It's the person who edited the whole last season.
Yeah, but what if we, as a goal for this season, considering that people actually enjoy our witty banter.
Yeah, but people enjoy the witty banter with it being... I mean, they might enjoy it without it being edited, but the version of it that everyone responded to was heavily edited.
Version, it's true.
I heard Jerry Seinfeld say on a episode of, I believe it was his show, Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, that he doesn't like podcasts because everything needs to be edited. Everything could use editing, he said. And I'm not saying that Jerry Seinfeld is my compass in life, by any means. But I do appreciate, if there's one thing I appreciate about Jerry Seinfeld, I do think he knows something about maybe entertainment. And ever since I heard him say that, I was like, oh, I think he's right. Maybe I should, put some effort into things that I put out there.
Well, I mean, yes, and let's find out.
Okay.
Maybe I edit, and I don't actually, edit. Mm-hmm. I just throw the music in.
See, that's how I've done all of my other podcasts.
Yeah.
And so...
We'll find out. Stay tuned, y'all. We are putting out a second season. This is the first episode of season 2.
And we have a plan for this season.
Tell us about the plan, Brooke.
So the first season.
Yes.
Our plan was we had a very specific set of topics that we wanted to cover. And it was a limited series. And we just kind of went into those topics in a pretty structured way. And then it was over. This season, the plan is, because we heard from people that they enjoyed our witty banter so much, and because we edited so much of our witty banter out. See, maybe this actually is speaking to your... Okay, so here we go. First half...
I'm trying so hard to just, let you talk and be a good listener. But I'm like, yep, that's right. Keep going.
The first half of the episode is going to be more personal updates, us talking about whatever it is that comes up. Not necessarily... Not business-related.
It might
Some
be.
of it might end up being
I'm
somewhat
sure
business related, but I think that the goal is for it to not really be, and be more about more personal stuff, and yeah. Then the second half of the episode, one of us is going to bring a topic that we want to go really deep into, really in depth. The other one will not know what that topic is. And then we're going to have a conversation about it, an in-depth conversation. So the idea is that one of us will be maybe a little bit more researched, more prepared. The other one is just kind of hot takes, reactions, that sort of thing. We might have guests here and there if it seems right.
Yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan for season 2. Some of the topics we already know we want to talk about are ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm. I mean, actually, I think that this came up because we were talking about doing an episode on creating a visual brand identity.
Yes.
And I was like, that is so in the weeds, though. Do we really want to get that in the weeds? And then I think we were like, oh, well, maybe we could get really in the weeds about, random topics that we know a lot about, but we're not going to do a podcast, just on branding.
No. And I'm not going to do an entire podcast on ChatGPT.
No.
Nor do I want to teach a workshop on it.
No.
But I do want to...
We do have a workshop, though, on joinfruition.com on ChatGPT.
I'm trying to, point to the click that link sign. You know what I mean? Like, tap that link and you'll find out more.
Like it's a YouTube video.
Exactly. Boom.
They're pointing.
Thank you. But I am, and I don't want to teach on ChatGPT, but I do want to have a conversation about it, and this feels like a good place where we can have a nuanced conversation about it, and I would love to, I mean, when that time comes, I'd like to task you with being the person who does the research and brings the research, and when we have the ChatGPT conversation.
So you want to assign a topic to me?
I would like to request that you cover that topic with your research brain.
Got it.
Yeah. Like I think there are going to be topics that I want you to take the lead on the visual brand identity conversation. But, you know,
what do you think you'll be taking the lead on?
I'll take the lead on freaking Substack.
Oh, to Substack or not to Substack?
Yeah, and I'll take the lead on, I mean, if anybody wants to hear me go in deep on a carousel slide conversation, you know what I mean? Or we also threw on the list, like, is Instagram really, quote, not working anymore? And it's like, I feel like I could bring some stuff for that.
Yeah, totally.
Anyways, we've got lots of...
It's going to be a surprise to the other one, whatever we decide to bring. So now I know what things you're expecting me to bring.
Yes.
But you don't know when they're coming.
Great, I love this.
You know what I realized?
Tell me.
We forgot to introduce ourselves.
Okay, we could do that. Do you want to do that now?
I mean, I feel like I have a pronoun update. So...
Why don't we do a little check-in? A little... You know what this is?
What is this?
A segue.
Oh. A segue. So the joke is that you may not know this. Well, actually, if you hung around for the bloopers in season 1, then you might know this. But the way that I edited season 1 was that, you know, we would just kind of be joking, and then all of a sudden that would end and the music would start, and then we'd get into the next part of the episode. But basically every time that you recorded, Tristan would announce, "This is a perfect segue," and then I would edit it out because that was explicitly not what we were doing.
I'm now realizing that this is a total dad move, which I didn't know before, but now that I've watched a drag king perform with all of their drag king greatness,
shout out to Vera.
To Vera.
Vera of
Veritas_22 or something like that.
From Oakland. I don't remember the name of the group that they're a part of, but man,
what an incredible... The Royal... Yeah, I can't remember.
Kings of Oakland?
Yeah, the Kings of Oakland? Something?
We don't really know what it is, but what we do know is if you ever have a chance to see the drag king Vera perform live, go. It was incredible.
And... they offered me the gift of modeling the beauty of using segues as a source of humor, you know?
Oh.
And it's a dad joke.
Do you remember any examples? Because I don't remember.
I just remember them being like, "That's a perfect segue." And they said it like a few times. And then at one point it became the joke where obviously they're constantly looking for the segue. And I was like, "Dad move. Got it."
Got it. Yeah, because in that show they were the dad.
They were daddy.
They were daddy.
Okay, so, personal updates.
Yes.
Do you want to start? Like, hi, my name is, and my pronouns are, and these are the things I'd want to share, you know, right now. Or do you want me to go first?
You go first.
Okay. Hi. My name is Tristan Katz. Somebody recently gifted me with this lovely phrasing, so this is what I'm going to say about my pronouns. My pronouns are they, them, and I also use he, him, but mostly just to point people in the right direction. And that's what I'm going to say about my pronouns. Also, let's just take a moment and acknowledge that even if you don't change your pronouns in some formal way, our relationship to this stuff and how we talk about it is going to inevitably change, and that's okay. Anyways, I'm just validating that. Because, like, I feel like every time I talk about my pronouns, sometimes I always want to offer, like, a qualifier because I'm still figuring it out. Anyways, so I use they, them with a sprinkling of he, him. The sprinkling is also language I borrowed from some other frickin' trans person. Yeah. What am I going to say about myself at the moment? At the moment, I am going to say that, it's really hard to be a human right now. I feel a lot of privilege in even having this like experience of like, I'm like, right now it's hard to be a human. It feels like, for me personally, in my identity and body in my identities, with my identities and the body I live in, it has been harder since 2020 to be a human. And that just feels like a really privileged statement. So I'm just sitting with like all of the complexities of that, of like, I mean, I was just saying to you earlier today, it's, social media is full of sources of grief and distress for me right now. And the world is full of grief and distress, and a lot of the clients that I sit in front of and hold space for I'm blown away by the amount of grief and distress I'm witnessing at times. And it feels impossible for me to hold. And I know I'm holding it because I'm here doing this thing. I'm staying alive, and I think I'm feeling my feelings from time to time. Anyways, I'm having a hard time.
I see you feeling your feelings.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. You've taught me a lot about feeling feelings.
Thanks. I'm trying to honor my experience. And part of my experience is also feeling an incredible amount of creativity. Like, something shifted in the last, I don't know. It started with the drawing, and I feel like discovering my passion for drawing somehow brought me back into writing. It's how it feels. But I'm still not fully like owning it. I'm like, I don't want to call myself a writer. I don't feel like I'm writing. I feel like I'm cheating somehow. Like, it's not real. Like, I can't trust it. And like, I'm fake if I call myself a writer.
Are we going to name the thing? Which is that you just submitted your book proposal?
I submitted my book proposal yesterday at the time of recording this. Thank you. And to a publisher and an editor who I have been formulating a relationship with. Thank you to Anjali Rao, my friend and colleague, and who introduced us. And I have a strong feeling that this book might happen with this publisher. And I really don't want to get my hopes up, and I really feel like I'm already a failure before I've even tried something.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say what I've been saying since I've known you, which is that I know that you're publishing this book.
Thank you.
I know that you are.
Thank
you. To me, it doesn't matter if it's the book as you just proposed it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you get a yes on this round or if you need to rewrite it. It doesn't matter if you have to submit it to a different publisher. I know that you and I both know you're publishing a book. You're just in the process now.
Yeah, it's going to be... Once I finish the manuscript and I hold the book in my hands, then I will believe it. Until then, I'm a failure.
I'm curious to see if that's true. Let's check in.
Great. We'll keep checking in on this.
We'll be checking in with you all when the book is published, and Tristan can let us know how the imposter complex is shape-shifting even after the book is written and published and printed.
Can we just talk about how even this conversation, I just like, you can't get away from childhood trauma. You know what I mean? You just can't. There's no escaping it. I feel the ghost of little Tristan in my belly right now.
Which is a perfect segue.
I love that. Yeah.
Couples therapy, which is our obsession.
God. Okay, we're going to hold couples therapy in the parking lot, okay? Put couples therapy in the parking lot. Anyways, I want to hear how you're doing. That feels like a good segue actually into how you're doing.
Yeah. Well, my name is Brooke Monahan. My pronouns are they, them. And I also use she and her. And I'm realizing that... You know what I'm realizing? I think I might be articulating this for the first time to you now. I mean, I've told you that I definitely feel like my... well, actually, okay, hold on. Let me back up for the listeners.
Great.
I have come to the realization that I am definitely non-binary. which you've known for a very long time, way before I knew it. But in an interesting, it's interesting to reckon with, like my own gender. Mm-hmm. And the fact that I can see so many differences between my identity as a non-binary person versus other people's identity as a non-binary person, and the way that I move through the world and the way that other non-binary people move through the world, and how drastically different that is, and how drastically different the level of privilege is, and all of that. Mm-hmm. And also, I'm learning more and more that my particular non-binariness, I think, is of the gender fluid category.
Yes.
Or way of thinking about things. And so and I'm also noticing that I am okay with certain pronouns from certain people and not so much from others. Mm-hmm. Particularly, and I think I just articulated this to our group yesterday, to Bloom, from people who I know are critical of gender and understand the construct of gender and don't just see everybody by their genitalia, basically, and just categorize people in that way. She, her feels affirming sometimes, actually, because I feel like I'm getting it at times when I am in that place myself, or I'm feeling more she, her. Mm-hmm. I really don't like to hear it, especially exclusively from people who I know are not interrogating that and are hearing me say I use either, and so therefore they feel it's okay to just always call me that. And I also think that, like, in that same way, people who are interrogating gender and are more critical of gender and understand it in the way that I do, he, him would also be good at sometimes in a particular way. I don't think in the same way that it feels good for you. Mm-hmm. And the reason that I don't use it is because I'm not pointing people in that direction. But sometimes I absolutely am he, him.
Yes. So what I hear you saying is, you can correct me if I'm wrong, you feel that the words non-binary feel good to you, or the word the phrase non-binary
feels accurate,
and gender fluid
feels accurate,
gender queer perhaps, and you feel affirmed when you hear they or she, particularly from people who understand and see your fluidity, and that you can almost maybe sense when you're getting she'd by people who can't see your fluidity. And that doesn't feel good.
There's certain people who, when they she me, I'm like, you don't think that me saying they, them is actually valid.
So what is it? Can you tell me about what your... And maybe this is, I don't know if this is not the right space for it, but I'm so curious.
We can edit it out if it's not.
Who's going to edit? Again? Who?
Hey, you said.
Yeah, I'm not editing a thing. I said audio music. That's what I said. That's what I signed up for.
Okay, we're getting an editor.
Okay. Here's my question, though. If you could locate what the feeling is or what it's like, like, how would you describe that when you're in this process of feeling affirmed or not affirmed? Like, what is it? You know what I'm saying?
What is it like to be, like, she heard by somebody who
what does
doesn't
it
see my
feel
non-binariness?
like versus what is the feeling when you're she heard, like, the feeling in your body she heard by someone, like me, exactly.
When I'm she heard by people who I don't think get it and I don't think see me as fluid or non-binary, I feel unseen. I feel like I'm expected to be someone I'm not. I feel invalidated.
Is it a sensation in your body tied with it? Or are there sensations tied with it that you can locate right now?
Like a shrinking feeling.
Okay.
It feels the same way that I didn't realize that I was feeling this throughout my life, But any time that queerness was invalidated in front of me and I didn't realize that the reason why I felt so activated by it was because I was queer, now I feel that, I'm more aware of that feeling, and I feel it directed at me more, or I can understand that it's my own experience. And sometimes, depending on the experience, I feel actually fully activated, like a sensation in my chest where it's like, and like getting hot and angry.
Yeah.
But most of the time I feel more of like a shrinking, feeling small.
Interesting. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
What do you think? Why do you say that's interesting? What's your experience?
I think I'm curious because you're in what I would call the early parts of your journey. You know, if I were to place you on some sort of timeline, not that it's linear in that way, you know, and not to assume your experience, but based on what I perceive of what you're going through, you're in the early parts of exploring and really interrogating and questioning what it feels like to be you and what that means apart from what people have told you to be in a lot of different ways, and in particular in relationship to your gender. And you have the emotional maturity to be able to say, I feel invalidated, I feel unseen. When it started for me in my mid to late 30s, which is where you are, I didn't have that capacity to name the feeling of being invalidated or unseen.
Well, did you have people in your life like who you are to me? Because
yes, and let me back up. I did have the capacity once I started moving into claiming new pronouns. I was able to quickly recognize I feel seen and not seen. Actually, now let me back up. I guess what I'm observing in my own experience is that the first thing I recognized was not the feeling of being invalidated or unseen when someone used she, her for me. The first thing I recognized was it felt like somebody was punching me in the stomach. It was the feeling first. I didn't have the language. I had the feeling.
Interesting.
And when I recognized that feeling, it was like, what the hell is that?
It was a new feeling.
It felt new.
It wasn't like you were recognizing the feeling for the first time and putting language to it. It was a new feeling.
It felt brand new.
Interesting.
And when I started tugging at that, I was like, oh, this is connected to stuff that isn't new, right?
Yeah.
And then came the language of like being seen or unseen, or affirmed or unaffirmed. But first, and it's funny because even now when I am misgendered, I still feel punched in the gut. That is the way I describe it. And I know everybody has a different experience of it.
Yeah.
But that is how it lands for me. It always feels like somebody's punching me in the stomach.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that what I've really noticed for myself is that I was so under the spell of patriarchy and the way that we're taught about gender that for so long I really, really fully was invested in the idea that my value came from how well I was doing woman.
Me too.
And I was really good at it, and I was praised for my appearance, and I had thin privilege, and I had all of the privilege to set me up for being praised for my appearance. And I was told a lot by, like, oftentimes the only thing that people had to say to me, especially I'm thinking about older people, when I was young and I would meet older people, especially like my ex's family, or even when I would see family members for the first time in a long time, right? Like, the praise that I would usually get was about how good I looked, how beautiful I was. And because that was the praise that I got, it felt good when I got that praise because I was just so under the spell of, like, that's how you do things the right way, and that's how you're of value. And so
that's how you find belonging
in the beginning of my kind of deconstructing and exploring my gender, when I shaved my head and I started allowing myself to dress differently and whatever, and people would perceive me as non-binary, I hated it because I felt like that was a signal to, it was like someone was telling me to my face that I had lost all of the value that I thought that I had from before.
Oof.
And what I realize now is that impulse that I had to try to perform femininity in that way was actually me trying to deal with the feeling that I can now recognize is in me around being a, quote, woman, where it's, like, so obvious to me that, like, I'm not actually that. Mm-hmm. And so I have to put on this, like, costume to try to do it the right way so that people will finally see me as that, because what I'm being told is that's how I am of value. And so now that I know that none of that is true, I can actually recognize the feeling and not have that impulse to dress myself up to be it, and instead be like, actually, no, you're fucking wrong. Mm-hmm. I'm not that person, and it shouldn't be that fucking hard to try to make myself that person. Mm-hmm. The amount of turmoil.
It's just, I am laughing only because our experiences, like, the words you are using are words I would use to describe my own experience just starting 5, 6, 7, like 8 years ago.
Yeah, you're 8 years older than me.
Right. So, like, 8 years ago...
So, literally at my age...
I was using the same language, having this... What felt like, this in some way, the same experience. Yeah. Let's just say very parallel experiences. The differences, I mean, apart from the trajectory that we go on from that point, because I think we're both understanding our gender in very different ways. Mm-hmm. To your point, right, about how you relate to he, him, and how you feel with he, him, right, and where you feel in your non-binariness. We're both non-binary. We're having very different experiences of being non-binary. And the thing I'm marveling at and laughing at in pure classic avoidant of childhood trauma fashion is the fact that you were praised and celebrated and told you're doing a good job, keep going. Don't stop. You're doing a good job. This is the only way you will belong. And I feel like I was fucking criticized and torn apart and always told I'm not doing it well enough. I need to do better.
Yeah.
And to free myself of that, and yet it was the same in order to belong, in order to be of value, in order to be loved.
Well, yeah, because it is the same, because on some level I knew that the praise was not praise of me, actually.
Exactly.
I didn't know that. I wasn't conscious of it, but in my body I actually knew it. I knew that it was all if people really knew who I was, though, they wouldn't actually love me. I better keep performing in this way. I better, hide myself. And I think that now what I'm noticing is that feeling, that shrinking feeling that I get when I'm exclusively she/heard by people who I know see in my, Zoom name that I have they, she, and they're like, okay, good, she's still okay, so I don't have to challenge myself, so I'm just going to keep sheing you. When I get that, it is that same feeling of hiding myself. It's the being expected to hide myself, or knowing that I would have to go back to that in order to fit in that space. Yes. But also, at the same time, I think it's important to say, too, that I do also feel like there's parts of my femininity that are real and true, and that I feel at times, which is why sometimes it does feel okay. And I think that fact actually makes it so that I'm in a unique position where I can challenge it more, or I have, like, the power or the privilege to challenge it more when I am, sometimes I don't feel resourced enough to, like, say something, or I just want to, I'm especially thinking about just, like, work in a corporate setting. Like, I just don't want to go there.
Yep.
Like when I'm just trying to, and I already feel less than in a lot of those scenarios, and so whatever. But then in other scenarios, it's like, no, I am going to go there because I trust that this person that I'm talking to has the same values as me. I'm choosing to trust that they care about me, and I know that they might actually listen to me.
Yeah.
Because of the way that they see me. Mm-hmm. Even if the way that they see me isn't true to who I actually am. And so, like, I am in a position where I think that it's just an interesting thing. It's like on one side of the coin, I feel like I'm not non-binary enough. On the other side of the coin, I feel like really what that feeling is on the other side that I can lean into is that privilege that I have of not moving through the world as a visibly trans person. Mm-hmm. And I can choose to pass as just... I can choose to just move through the world as a cis person and use that power to my advantage whenever I want to. And I don't want to, but I can.
Yes.
So that was a really long check-in, but how am I? Aside from my pronouns and that update, I am pissed. Mm-hmm. I'm so pissed. I'm grieving and I'm angry.
Tell me more about the anger.
I've been thinking a lot lately about, it's not just, I just said a lot about the way that I felt wrong about who I was related to gender, but more than that, the thing that's really present for me right now is I have always been a very passionate, loud person when it comes to justice, human rights, politics, things like that, especially when I was younger. Mm-hmm. When I was like a teenager and like in my early 20s, I was like known as like the fucking angry person who would never shut her mouth. I would get in fights with especially older men all the time. Except for my dad. My dad is the only person who could always shut me down, and that was a trauma response. That's unrelated. But I was always known for being that person, and somewhere along the line, I allowed the idea to sink in that I needed to cool it.
Uh-huh.
And I did cool it.
Uh-huh.
And I think that to some level, I'm glad I did, but but I think I overcorrected a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And then later on in my life, like, my ex was an academic. I hung out with a lot of academics. I hung out with a lot of people who were incredibly smart and really good at arguing and could make you feel like you were, like, 1 inch tall. Mm-hmm. And I would get in arguments with these people. Yep. And I would walk away feeling terrible about myself. And like everyone thought that I was an idiot because I was saying things that
they disregarded.
Disregarded. Like I got in, I remember being in New Orleans and fighting with people over the use of the term white supremacy. In like with a white man in a black neighborhood. Yeah. We're at a brewery and I'm trying to explain to this person, and I actually really like this person a lot. And afterwards he apologized to me and all of that. But I don't think that he was apologizing about the content of it. I was called anti-Semitic for calling what's happening in Palestine a genocide. I've been called, like, the things that have been flung at me for being passionate about things that I knew were right. Yes. And to now be like, so I look back on the ways that I internalized that and pissed off about it. Yes. Because I was fucking right, and I'm still right. And there's some things that I'm wrong about, but like for the things that are just like fucking obvious, like no, we actually live in a racist fucking country, and it is not my responsibility to make white privileged people feel okay about the ways that they have
benefited,
ignored it, all of it.
Yeah, I know.
Like, fuck off.
Yeah. Well, I celebrate your anger.
Thank you.
And your fire.
Thank you.
Yeah. Also, I went through a similar thing where I had it and then I lost it because I let other people, in my words, take it from me in some way. You know what I mean? Particularly cis men. Really entirely cis men. And it's really sad. I feel like one of the themes underlying this conversation is the the dangers and violence of patriarchy and white supremacy and capitalism.
Yeah. I'm so angry about patriarchy.
Yeah, fair.
In a way that, like, I just...
Fair.
Yeah, I can't believe that I ever made myself wrong for just what I knew so deeply in my gut.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also updates.
Tell me.
I have shared before on past podcasts of mine. I've shared on social media. People who know me know, like, I have shared about my realization of having PMDD and the way that my... And by the way, this is directly fucking linked to patriarchy.
Yes.
Directly linked.
Speak.
So I'm like, how deep into this are we going to go? This is going to be a very long check-in.
Hey, we could release a 2-hour episode.
We sure could.
People might listen to it.
Okay, so let me tell the story. So I started going to therapy. I was living in New Orleans at the time. It was post-COVID, though, so I don't know. Maybe it was like 2021.
Okay, post-COVID meaning...
Post-lockdown.
Thank you.
I should say. I'm sorry.
Like, it's still happening, everybody.
Of course it is. Yes, of course it
is. Thank
you. Post the time when I was not leaving my home at all. I mean, when I started, we were still social distancing. Me and my therapist I was seeing her in person, but we were keeping a distance and wearing masks.
Yeah.
So it was that time. I don't know. And I was going through these, long story short, my therapist ended up being like, I really want you to go and see a psychiatrist because I think that you might be I would want you to be evaluated for bipolar disorder. And that was because I was going through a cycle that was repeating over and over and over again of being like on top of my shit, so excited. I was going to do all these things in my business. I was going to do all these things in my life. I was going to get on my stuff and I was going to like come up with these systems to like make sure I was getting all my shit done and whatever. And then I would be like super depressed, burnt out. Why am I doing any of this? Nothing's going to work out for me. What's the point? And ultimately, fast forward, I do not have bipolar disorder. I have PMDD, which basically means what people have called PMS forever. In my case, it really affects my life.
It's really, really
to the point
significant.
Of it is I am sometimes suicidal as a result. And as I have talked about this with more and more people, the more I have learned that obviously I am not the only one. And this is happening to a lot of people.
Surprise.
And if you go to a traditional Western medical doctor and you tell them you have PMDD, they will tell you, go on birth control. That is the response that you get from everybody. Just go on birth control.
It's funny because I did not present with PMDD, presented with other things. They still put me on birth control.
It's like easy fix.
It's like gargle some salt water and go on orthotricycline low.
Right. You're having irregular periods, go on birth control.
Exactly.
That'll make it regular.
Exactly.
You have issues with your skin? Go on birth control. That'll, quote, level out your hormones and make your acne go away.
Back to patriarchy. Anyways, please continue with your story.
Yeah, and so... Exactly, back to patriarchy, because the fact that this is the only answer that we have to this thing that is so significant, to me, obviously points to the fact that we've just decided this isn't worth actually studying or understanding. And so I bring all of this up to say that I am so happy that I am now in the state of Oregon where your insurance cannot tell you that a naturopath cannot be your primary care physician.
Yep.
And I now have a naturopath as my primary care physician. I have gone through hormonal testing that my previous doctors have told me I don't need. I have new meds. I have all kinds of new, like, supplements and things that we're trying. I feel like I have a care team that actually cares to, like, look more deeply at what's going on and help me in a way that feels like they actually give a fuck and want to help me figure this out.
Yep.
Instead of just throwing
Birth
something
control
at it. And actually really validating. After years of going through this, of hearing people be like, you should go on birth control, and me being like, I've been on birth control before. I wanted to kill myself then too. That is not gonna fix this. We should put a content warning.
Yeah, I've already made a note in my head.
Or, like, you know, I'm willing to go on something, but, like, can we look into what it is instead of just throwing random birth control pills at it?
Seriously.
Also, it kills your sex drive. That's not fun for me.
No.
Like, I
not
just
for me
don't want to do that.
No.
Anyway, so after all of that time, I just had someone look at someone who specializes in hormones and is a naturopath, look at my hormonal testing and said, yeah, actually, you have a particular type of imbalance that we should not be throwing estrogen at.
So and I'm like, birth control is not the answer.
Thank you.
Wild.
Thank you. That whole time, if someone had just, and by the way, and also, can I also throw in, I have spent so much fucking money on this testing because my insurance will not cover it.
Yep.
And the amount of privilege that you have to have in order to get this kind of care, even with insurance, is disgusting.
It's disgusting. And I'm happy for you that you're getting the care that you need and that we actually all deserve.
We all do. It is healthcare.
It's health
It's
care
basic
that
fucking
we
health
should
care.
have because we exist. I remember, shout out to Kelly Nicole Palmer.
Oh, yes. Kelly Nicole Palmer. I know Kelly.
Kelly Nicole Palmer once said to me, I think it was on a podcast conversation, and she said, we should all have access to water. Like, simply, you have to pay a water bill. Mm-hmm. And she was like, isn't that kind of ridiculous? Mm-hmm. And then she was like, same for food. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, holy crap, Kelly Nicole Palmer, you just blew my mind. Mm-hmm. But it was something I took for granted. Of course I pay a water bill. Same with access to health care. Anyways.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking up Kelly's.
She's off Instagram now.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I wanted to make sure that we were current on pronouns.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I am.
Great.
Yeah.
I haven't personally seen Kelly in a space in years, and so I wasn't sure.
Kelly's gone onto the land. You know what I mean? From what I understand.
Nice.
Yeah. According to, I believe, Substack posts I've seen that are like fundraising for efforts that she's making with her family to be on the land, as it were. Is that the right phrase? Homesteaders, you know?
Cool.
Yeah. But I feel like homesteading is a very white word to use for some reason. It feels a little colonial.
Yeah, totally.
Anyways, okay. Should we talk about something relating to business and maybe the nature of entrepreneurship in this moment?
I mean, maybe, although we already did put couples therapy in the parking lot.
Shit, couples therapy's in the parking lot. That's what I was just going to say to you. I was like, what did we put in the parking lot?
Couples therapy.
Couples therapy. Okay, we're gonna do like a quick, and by quick I mean we'll see how long this is, but you know, throughout this podcast, we have regularly reported on what shows and movies are currently bringing us entertainment. And lately, it has been couples therapy.
Do you want to talk about your relationship to couples therapy, Mr. I don't like reality programming?
Yes, okay. So, background. I do not like reality programming. It's true.
I picked a couple of reality shows to kind of try to get you, to ease you
interested.
And I was successful with Love on the Spectrum.
Yes.
And Couples Therapy and The Queer Ultimatum.
Yes. What were you unsuccessful with? The Great British Baking Show.
You didn't like Bake Off.
And what else? Did we try anything else? Oh, you watched something when I was half asleep once, and I was like, what is this garbage? Was it Love Island or some shit?
I don't think it was Love Island, but I don't know, one of those garbagey shows. Yeah.
That
I haven't.
can't do.
So I have not allowed myself. Anybody who's listening who watches Love Island knows what I'm talking about. I have not allowed myself to watch Love Island in years because I know what will happen. I will not be able to stop. And there's like 30 fucking episodes a season, and it takes over your life. And I just can't. I don't have time to go on that kind of bender right now. You know what I mean?
Some Instagram content about this. Okay, but I also want to acknowledge that Drag Race is technically a reality show.
Yes. Well, yes. And when I learned that you liked Drag Race, I was like, okay, so you know competition reality. Yes. And that was what made me think that maybe I would be able to get you into some other competition reality shows.
Not so much.
I mean, I'm still, we'll see.
We'll see.
Anyways.
Couples therapy, though. Holy moly. We started with season 4.
The first half of season 4.
The first half of season 4, and I got hooked, and then we watched everything that's available.
Well, so we watched the first half of season 4 when it first came out, and then I told you that that show has gotten much better with representation over years.
Time, yes.
And that the earlier seasons were a bit more hetero and a bit more white.
Uh-huh.
And you were like, I'm not watching them then. I got what I needed. I'm not watching them. And I went back and rewatched everything leading up to season 4. I have rewatched it multiple times. And then the second half of season 4 came out. You watched that, and then you were like, let's do this. And we went back and binged the entire series leading up to.
And let me just say, it is a lot. It is like, I don't know if this is everybody's experience, but I could not watch the show without having my own stuff come up. Mm-hmm. So the show was constantly like a mirror.
Yes.
To something I have experienced with somebody else. And it was just like a constant, like, haunting deep dive into personal introspection and accountability.
Yeah. If you haven't watched couples therapy, I mean, essentially it's just segments of actual couples therapy with this incredible psychoanalyst.
I mean, we think she's incredible. We're open to input and feedback. I'm really looking forward to hearing Dr. Alex Antoffi's take in particular.
I'm so curious.
Yeah, so we'll see what Dr. Alex has to say about it.
Maybe we need to have Dr. Alex on just to talk about this for maybe the first half of an episode where we're talking about unrelated to business.
Brilliant idea.
Everybody, if you haven't watched Couples Therapy, go ahead and watch one of the more recent seasons I would recommend. I actually think season 4 is an amazing season to start with because I just think it's the best of what they've done so far. Although I do really appreciate that the second half of season 3 focused a lot on non-monogamy. But watch it so that you can be prepared for when we have maybe more in-depth conversation. We'll see if it actually happens.
I'd be very curious. Also, I'd be curious to talk to Alex too about the complexities that happen on the show during the BLM uprising.
Yes.
Because I feel like some of that stuff makes me really angry, actually, the way they handled it. Also, we're going to have a deep dive about couples therapy. We're going to put that in the ongoing parking lot.
Great.
Not for today.
Great.
Because I think it's time to talk about...
Wait, but I have other things that I'm watching updates.
Here's the thing.
Can I just shout out one more thing?
Sure.
That isn't Drag Race. Okay, I just stuck that one in again too.
Mm-hmm.
There is an amazing 2-part documentary that you and I will be watching later today.
Ah, yes.
Called Pee-wee as Himself on HBO Max. That's all I have to say. Watch it. I just can't. I was obsessed with that 2-part documentary. That's all. Paul Rubens. That's it. Targeted by homophobia and everyone made to think that he's some kind of creep, and it was incredibly powerful to watch. I loved it. Okay, that's all. Pee-wee.
Are you complete?
No, but we can move on.
Non-closure.
Accept and embrace non-closure.
Great. Okay.
Yes.
So let's talk about the shifts we have seen or are seeing in the business and entrepreneurship space since our last season.
Yeah.
Like, this could be the whole, I mean, this transitioning into episode number 2 now of season 2. You know what I mean? Like, maybe the first half of this conversation is episode 1. And now...
It could be, although we did say we were going to do first half personal, second half business, so this might just be a long episode 1.
Okay, long episode 1. Here we go. I kind of think we should. And, you know, if you listen to this and you're like, wow, no, too long, y'all.
Well, just, hey, y'all, take care of yourselves. Pause it and come back to it.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you. That's what I do with podcasts. Yeah. What am I talking about? Take up the space!
You get to pause and come back.
Okay, so...
You get to pause and not come back.
Tell me what you're thinking about when I ask you this question. What patterns or themes are you seeing come up in working for yourself since last season?
I am seeing, both in myself and in my clients and in just observing the way that things have changed in general, that many of us who have been doing this for years really are having to let go of some of the things that we were taught, say, 2020 through 2023, I'm gonna say, as like the best practices, especially in marketing. I think that so much of it just doesn't fucking apply anymore.
Totally.
And I think that I'm seeing in myself, and also just in what I'm witnessing working, that there is such a... People have become so trained now with the sheer volume of things that are being advertised to us, especially on social media. People have become so trained to witness, to see, to sense that something is just an advertisement very early.
Yes.
And if it is not in some way entertaining or somehow creates a sense of connection or something like that, like, you can't just talk about your work anymore. It's just boring. Like, and people are just over it. That's what I'm seeing. And I think specifically I zoom in on this piece because in the first season, we talked so much about the, like, really nitty-gritty of kind of, like, marketing yourself and how to speak to, like,
your positioning,
how to
your
dial
messaging,
in your messaging, your positioning, and all of that. And
for.
I don't want people to think that you can get clear on that and then just show up and say it.
Yeah.
Like, no one wants to just hear... Like, you have to be more creative about how you are presenting that to people. And you also need to be a lot more willing to, like, show up and actually be in relationship with people and show who you really are.
Yeah, you need both. I believe, need both. We need the foundational stuff, and we need to be able to throw it all out the window and figure something out on the fly. That's part of entrepreneurship. And right now, the on the fly is people are tired of transactional marketing on social media, and many of us are having a very hard time when we're on our phones.
Yeah.
It's complicated. I mean, I was just saying to you today, like, the starving children that I see on a regular basis right now. Yeah. It's like, no, I don't want to see your marketing graphic right now. Or maybe I don't even know how to, but I also don't know how to see the starving children. But I have no fucking choice if I'm going to open Instagram. That is part of and I'm not going to look away. So I'm trying to figure out how to care for myself in this climate. And I am looking for... So, here's okay. Can I just dive into this?
Dive in.
I'm so into this topic. first of all. It's all I've wanted to talk about in my work, actually. It's all I've talked about in my work is, like, how do we actually meet people in our marketing and it not make it just transactional. And so here is an article from Dr. Devin Price on pronoun check. What did we learn this week? He, him.
I think he, him.
It's.
Yes.
Okay, so this is Devin Price's Substack. If you're not familiar with Dr. Devin Price's work, highly recommend his books, his articles, content, etc. Devin is not, I mean, I don't know about Devin as an entrepreneur. Devin is an educator, an author, and I believe an academic and a writer. Devin's writing in this Substack about, he calls them, my patented tips on building and maintaining a social media presence without becoming too much of a self-absorbed demon about it or crashing out. And then he says, and I'm going to give this more context in a minute, but first I want to highlight this. People are on social media looking mainly to be distracted or entertained, and they can smell when the posting is rote and passionless. And as much as the algorithm loves to push out the same reheated glurge over and over, users can sense when a creator does not have the artistic sauce. If what they are watching feels like a rerun of a sitcom, they'll care about it just as much as any trash on TV. Why work so hard on something with no life behind it? Making the same tired old posts about the same handful of well-worn topics is bound to be unrewarding for most creative people. And if you're trying to develop a quote audience, exercising your creativity was probably the original point. So I recommend approaching social media use not as a grim obligation, but as a form of play. And Devin goes on to write a lot of really valuable things. We were talking about this article in more detail with the consulting or the coaching group that we run every week. But the reason I want to bring it in is because, to me, if we are going to continue building relationships with people, which is what marketing is about, if we are going to continue cultivating trust, which you and I have talked a lot about on this podcast, because it is an important component of being an entrepreneur, and it has been co-opted by heavily capitalist mainstream marketing conversations to become, like, not trust.
Yeah.
I want to get back to, like, what, I'm not saying trust like you and I have trust.
Right.
I'm saying trust in when you pay me for a service, I can deliver on that service.
Yeah. Trust that you're not just good at marketing.
Yeah.
Trust that you're not just riling me up into thinking I need
this
something
thing
that I don't.
So when I think about all of this, and then I was thinking about this thing you shared with me earlier today about how Regina Spektor played here in Portland, and people walked out of a show they bought tickets for because of her response to people speaking up about Palestine and Gaza in the audience. And I'm like, look, and then I think about Target and how many months of people boycotting that store and their sales going down. We can't, will you say something with your BPT based on everything I just said?
Do you want to give some context about what BPT is?
I believe Brooke has a GPT in their brain. It's like, if I just spit out a bunch of stuff, like all the thoughts, as if I'm just putting them on a whiteboard or typing them into the computer, Brooke can somehow take them all. It's not just with me. It's part of your skill set in your coaching, but it's also who you are. Is like, you listen, you take it in, and then you're able to offer something back that feels to me often like you're GPTing all of my thoughts into something that's really coherent, and like, this is how we move it forward from there.
It's almost like Chat GPT is like an artificial version of, like,
a relationship,
a human
brain.
Yeah. Thank you for saying all of that.
Yeah.
It's really sweet. What I hear, or what's coming to mind as you're talking about all of this, is that I think that for a long time we were trying to get good at manufacturing trust or like manipulating things so that people would trust you rather than actually being in a trusting relationship. I think that a lot of the best practices that we learned for marketing, digital marketing, content creation, that kind of thing, were really based on how do you get people to trust you, not necessarily by being trustworthy, but by doing things in this particular way that we've kind of learned through repetition works well to trick people. Mm-hmm. And guess what? People are actually like not, as the great Kendrick Lamar would say, hey Drake, they're not slow.
Sorry, I'm probably laughing so loud in your earbuds right now if you're listening.
Like, you can try to twist it for as long as you want, but eventually, like, people are going to catch on. And, like, have enough respect for people to know that, like, that's only going to last you for so long. It's not an actual sustainable strategy. And it's caught up with us. Yeah. And, you know, my thing is, how fucking long did we all complain about that shit for and say, it's not sustainable, it's not real, these people can say that, like, these bros can say that you can XYZ, but actually, you know, it's not. And guess what? Yeah, we were right. Mm-hmm. So, but a lot of the same people who were saying that and complaining about it, I don't think were actually prepared to come up with their own different way. Strategy. Show up differently from that. And I think that we're just kind of, the rubber has met the road. Like, you cannot do what people were doing in 2020 anymore without being really lucky. And what I mean by that is you can no longer just come up with an idea for a course, take Amy Porterfield's class on how to create a digital course and sell it and make $1 million, and then actually start like just seeing students funnel in by paying for Instagram ads. It actually does not work anymore. And the reason that it doesn't work is because like it actually was never working for consumers. It was working for people who were trying to make money. Yes. And now, like, you have to be able to back your shit up. Yes. It's a good shift, I think.
I completely agree. I want to embrace it.
Yeah. And I think that, I
mean, it's what I've been freaking teaching.
It is what you've been teaching forever.
Entire professional career.
It is. It is what you've been teaching forever.
Which is irritating, but you know, hey, here I am. Yay. I'll keep doing it. Yeah. It matters more now. Mm-hmm. The conversation.
People are being pressured to listen to you now.
Yeah. I was like, I wonder if this is why my work is doing okay, is because
you actually fucking know what you're doing.
I've been a consistent person in my line of work, in my area of expertise, and I've been vocal about the fact that I am not doing things according to the status quo, and I've been doing that my entire career. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah, that didn't really, I'm not going to say it didn't work. It worked. I have had a business, and I was struggling, and I'm not saying, oh, now I'm going to be just fine for the rest of my business. And no, but right now I'm doing better than I have ever with my client load and my income and how I'm spending my time.
Saying something because it's a really challenging time for a lot of people.
I feel so fucking lucky.
You're not lucky. It's not about, I mean, okay, in some ways, right, of course, we've all had some amount of just roll of the dice lottery luck.
Yes.
Like just like we were born here.
Yes.
Right? Like, or like whatever. Yeah. But your success is not, I've watched you work really hard at this. I've watched you be really committed to it and be really consistent. And I've watched you practice the things that we're trying to get people to learn now for years before it was necessary to. Like, you didn't need to be doing that stuff before. You could have made money.
Teaching the sales skills.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I want to tell this story because I think it relates to this conversation. and maybe it'll be helpful for people to hear. I don't know, but it's coming to mind, which is the experience that Alex and I had recently in marketing our Holding Ground affinity space for trans and gender nonconforming people. This is the first time we've created this offer. The TLDR is it's a 3-month container, meeting twice a month, and it's just that. It's just like it's a virtual affinity space for trans and gender nonconforming people. We're in leadership positions, but like that's loose, I think leadership is a really broad category, and we're interpreting it broadly. And we wanted to prioritize access, and so it's just like come as you are. No one turned away for lack of funds. You can pay anywhere from $1 to $200 or whatever you want, and we'll just experiment and see if it works. And we both sat down and said, yeah, let's launch it. Let's announce it. I want to be really clear when I say launch. Let's announce it. We'll put it on social media. And then we'll market it regularly for 2 months. And so we announced it on social media, and then life happened. And I think I included it in maybe a couple newsletters loosely, but like largely speaking, we didn't do any marketing for it. At some point, I realized we weren't marketing it, and so I posted another announcement on Instagram. And that post did better. And so I spent some of my money and I invested it in an advertisement on Instagram. This is complicated. Life is hard. We live in capitalism. Things are not black and white. Anyways, from boosting that ad and Alex including it in their newsletter and me including it in my newsletter one more time, we ended up filling the space. And we wanted 20 to 25 people-ish. The moral of the story is not the marketing strategy worked. The moral also isn't posting on Instagram twice and sending out this many newsletters or investing in an ad worked. Like there was no one thing that worked. The takeaway to me once I got into the space was actually that most of the people in that space had some sort of familiarity or relationship with Alex or myself. Mm-hmm. And then there were a few people in the space who don't and just saw this is a space for you and came because they needed it. Mm-hmm. And that was exactly the goal and the point. So to me, again, it's like the same tenets of marketing still apply. Nobody's going to know what you're doing unless you tell them. Mm-hmm. You got to tell them more than once and in different ways. And you got to do more than just tell them about the space you're marketing or the service you're offering in order to build a community of people who regard you for the work that you do and associate you with the work that you do and trust you for the work that you do and think of you when they need the work that you do. Yeah.
I'm in that space. So I was about to say most of us, and I was like, maybe we should clarify. Most of us have had a relationship with one of you two or both of you.
Yes.
And I think that what I'm hearing you say is that that's the thing that paid off the most.
I think so.
And that's what a lot of people who are trying to do things exclusively online are trying to avoid, is having to actually tend to and be in relationships with folks.
So true.
And I feel, I have some sympathy because I definitely have been there, and I think to some extent some of it in some instances can come from this feeling of like what it feels like to try to force relationships in spaces that you've been in the past where you maybe didn't belong or something like that, right? Of course not for everybody, but I think that just speaks more to finding the spaces, like being intentional about finding the spaces where you do, because it's rewarding for you too. It's so much more rewarding.
Yes. Yeah, I really see the theme of individualism coming up here, and how, and when I say individualism, I don't just mean like the messaging from dominant culture that we should do it all on our own, that we should somehow create successful businesses, whatever that means, all on your own. That's freaking ridiculous, first of all, but also like the you should be able to meet all your needs, or like you shouldn't need anyone kind of messaging, which comes so much from like rupture and trauma response and white supremacy culture, and I'm just like, yeah, it's scary. I get it. It's hard. Relationships are hard. And it's the only way we're going to run an effective business.
Yeah, like, that's the work that you need to do.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, well, then I just need to go out and make more relationships with people who are interested in doing... And, I mean, I don't mean to say just as if that's easy, but, I mean, this is why I'm always like, when was the last time you showed up for something that wasn't about making money?
Right.
And I don't mean that to bypass the fact that we have to make money, and for many of us, there's no fucking choice, but that's how we have to spend our time.
Yeah.
I get that. And if we are to network, and it's like there's got to be other spaces, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, this will be an ongoing topic of conversation, but to me, this is a big part of what's coming up right now in this moment, is this falling apart of old ways.
Yeah.
I mean, hello, the podcast is called Reimagining Online Business.
Right. And we've alluded to this, obviously, in season 1, but I think
continuing.
Yeah. It's continuing, and I think we're just seeing it kind of progress. Like, we're even more there now than we were
2 years ago. 3 years ago.
3 months ago.
3 months ago.
And to your point, and to the, we were just talking about this yesterday in Bloom with our group, it is so fucking dystopian to see what we're seeing happen right now, specifically starving children in Gaza, people being killed trying to seek aid, people in the United States literally being kidnapped by masked, unmarked secret police. Let's be honest. I mean, it basically is just Trump's secret police just going in and disappearing people. We built a fucking concentration camp
in Florida.
You call it something else if you want to. It's a concentration camp. That's what it is. And to see all of that and then flip to the next story or reel or whatever, and it's like someone with a huge smile on their face talking about their program with no acknowledgement, and it just feels like really fucking weird.
It is. It
doesn't feel good.
Yeah, so we've got to find a way. And I mean, I'm struggling with this too. Because, I, in the last week or so, or in the last couple weeks, I've shared a couple marketing assets.
Yeah, but I think that to the point of the relationship piece, right?
Yeah.
People know, if they've been following you for any amount of time, they know where you stand on things, and you're generally talking about these things.
Yeah.
But some people...
I know.
It's like there's no way that we can know. And it's like, who are you?
It's so true. And also, all I can hear is silence is not okay right now. Mm-hmm. Your voices matter. Mm-hmm. Even you with your small itty-bitty platforms. Like, that's kind of what I'm hearing, is like every single voice in the conversation actually matters. Even if it's happening at the dinner table, right? Even if it's happening online, if it's happening in your newsletter, if it's happening on social media, if it's happening, with somebody you're in a virtual space with, it's like every single fucking conversation matters. Don't stay silent. Especially if you are white and in the United States. And then it's like I'll layer on, especially if you are white in the United States and Jewish, it feels like I have a unique responsibility to not stay silent. But silence is not okay right now. And if we have not heard you, it's like marketing. You got to say the thing over and over again, multiple times in different ways.
Yeah.
If you only say it once, nobody's going to hear you.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying be performative about it either. That's the thing, is I'm constantly checking in with myself, and it is a point of inquiry, is like, I have to ask myself, and sometimes I mess it up, right? What are my motivations here? And by mess it up, I mean I motivate based on myself. I get motivated based on self-interest versus what I know to be larger and true, right? I'm imperfect. I'm just human like everybody else. And I sit with what are my motivations right now in my quote-unquote marketing. And how do I attune to what people might need to hear versus what I want to sell or move forward. I don't have the answers because I don't always have anything to say. How do I, for example, share that I'm offering a 12-hour training in September? And how do I talk about it every week over and over again in different ways? I'm trying to figure it out, and I'm not going to end up talking about it every week in the process.
Yeah, I mean, I think that part of what you're pointing out when you say, I'm not saying being performative about it, is what I hear when you say that is, don't fall back into the way that we were taught to do things in 2020 and 2021, which was the best practices to fake it mentality.
Thank you. See?
Do the actual, you have to fucking reckon with this shit. There's no way to shortcut it.
No.
There's no way to shortcut it. People are going to understand more about who you are. And if you're not a trustworthy person, it's going to come out.
Yeah, if you're not actually practicing what you want people to think you're practicing, we're going to be able to know.
Yeah. And so, like, if you're listening to this and you're like, okay, but give me the answer about how I sell all of the things, and are you saying that I need to post more about Palestine? Well, that's not really what's on my mind right now. Like, I don't know that this is, like, I just think that there's, like, a deeper thing that needs to be addressed there as to, like, why. Yeah,
now is not the time for business as usual.
It hasn't been.
It hasn't been for a really long time. And it is our responsibility as solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, to recognize that and follow that rather than...
What do you want to see business look like? What's the new business as usual?
We have agency. We do not have to. In fact, I would argue we cannot.
You know, I know this really smart person who is working on a book about the ways that when we take up space online, we contribute to culture and the larger conversations that are happening and all of that. And
thanks.
Yeah, that would be Tristan Katz, by the way.
That's my book, everybody.
And that's part of what I hear you saying.
Yeah, that is what I want to say. That's what I want to say more about in the book, and to hear you reflected back to me in that way at this moment in the conversation is really helpful. So thanks. Yeah.
Be willing to take a fucking risk.
Yeah.
Don't try to go at it with the, how many times should I post about Palestine? How many times should I post about ICE? And then how many times can I post about my program? Don't go into... Don't start looking for that answer even.
No.
Like,
pay attention to humanity first.
Yeah, take the risk that maybe, like, you won't fill the program this time.
Yeah.
Because when you go at it head on and you point directly for it, that's the only thing that you're thinking about, I just think that you have an even less chance of it paying off anyway. So what's the point? It's like Devin Price saying, what's the point in working so hard on something that's just so fucking empty?
You know, let's go back to Dr. Devin Price, because I think that this is appropriate. And then I want to say one more thing, and then I think we can start to wrap up. What do you say?
Sounds great.
Okay. So Devin says, try to focus on making and discussing things you're actually interested in right now. And only post when you want to. Don't convince yourself that the fate of the entire world or your professional future hangs on whether you made the right Labubu joke. Just hang out. Have fun. Experiment with new styles, looks, and formats. Info dump about a special interest. If you get sick of making infographics, go make glitchy video art instead. Some of the internet's most impactful figures are first and foremost creatives who changed up what they were doing and invented new genres long before it was popular. He goes on to cite several people who did that. Engaging in that kind of creative fluidity is meaningful, which is better than being short-term profitable or popular, and it makes you adaptable and skillful no matter where your efforts wind up. Even if a particular project goes nowhere, the time will not be wasted because it helped you grow and informed your future creations. The last thing I'm going to add is this. Being propelled by genuine passion rather than obligation can also prevent burnout, and as a nice side effect, work you actually enjoyed making tends to have an ineffable glimmer about it that the right audiences will pick up on and appreciate on a deeper level. Trust me, it is better to have a dozen people write thoughtful responses to your work than to have thousands of people like it but barely understand it. So good.
Yep.
It's almost like if we can tap into our creative energies and what maybe compelled us to get into entrepreneurship in the first place, we could think outside of all the things that have been said we're supposed to do and start to come up with new ways of being and existing and moving our work forward that actually feel aligned with being a human being.
Which brings me back to the work that I was trying to fucking do with business owners in like 2022.
Glad we're making a podcast. We got things to say. Let's keep going. Hey, like, rate, subscribe, review wherever you get your stuff, you know?
You're not going to get any answers here. You might be more confused, but hey, at least it's honest.
Are you complete?
Yeah.
Great.
I just changed the settings and now I'm testing the microphone again.
Why don't you sit back? What if you don't lean in?
What if you don't lean in?
What if we both lean out?
You slowly make your way closer and closer to the microphone throughout. So really point the finger back at yourself.
This is already witty banter. This is why we get the reviews we get. We're going to have to save this.
We're going to break the internet.